Well, spring is upon us, and that means there are chores that need to be done around the house. One of those chores is getting ready for spring and summer mowing. Now, I've got some rust damage on my mower deck that I've been ignoring for quite some time, so that means it's only gotten worse. And now that I have that X1 Pro Laserwelder, I kind of want to see if it can be used for a real repair project. Hopefully this will work and at the same time give me some practical experience with the type of projects it's actually good at. And then we can get back to the carnival ride restoration. So the first thing I got to do is get our laser welder here switched over to cleaning mode, which means disconnecting it from the argon tank and just connecting it to compressed air, because there's no reason to waste argon for cleaning mode. We use that for cutting mode as well. And we're going to go to cleaning, confirm, and settings should be just fine the way they are. Lines out here. All right, power up. Now, I don't really need to clean all of this off before fixing it, but I do want to see the extent of the damage and make sure that we're going to cut out all the bad stuff. Plus, it gives me a chance to really play with the machine and see how it works. And I gotta admit, it's kind of satisfying to see this burn off all of the crap. I'm going to get a straight edge in my cutting tip. See if we can't cut this. Okay, let's get this switched over to cutting mode. So cutting tip. Should be enough. Right along there. Move this. That is an incredibly fine line right there. Here we go. All right, we need to roll this over now. Get the other side. Okay. There. I'm gonna need to get on the other side. That right there should do. Well, we just need to hit that with a hammer and see if it's cut or not. I think slow and steady is really important for cutting, or you don't get a fully penetrated cut. Didn't quite get through there. Coming up on that inner gusset in there is what the problem is. Alright, well there's our piece. We just need to trace this and then cut a piece out. Gotta figure out what we need for metal here. I always keep this cardboard from cases of soda because it's really nice for patterns. Not sponsored, by the way. Let's do that. This. 12 gauge fits pretty much everywhere. So here's where I made what I think was my first really big mistake. I tried to cut the piece to size and then fold it. I think it would have worked way better to fold it first and then cut it to size, but I'll persevere here and see if we can make it work. At least by this point I was getting much better at a nice smooth cut that fully penetrates the metal.
If we get paint on us, it's fine.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, because it could wash off.
Oh. Time to get this switched over to welding. And we are going to do carbon steel 2 millimeters. That should set it up for us. We also need to get our air compressor disconnected and hook up the argon tank. Disconnect that and plumb that into there. Getting kind of low. This way. Don't look this way. I'm going to show the glasses on.
Okay, so I'm going to put on my glasses. Oh, yeah. Okay.
So from my limited experience using this machine, I've found that it's much easier to follow a seam where you have an inside corner or an outside corner or a lap joint where there's something you can butt your tip up against. It's much more difficult just to follow a gap in the metal. Of course, that's my own lack of welding experience.
will try both of them.
Okay.
Whoa.
Oh, there you go.
That is enough.
That's enough?
Yeah.
Okay.
Should we also paint, the...
Oh, we're going to paint the top too, but I don't want this to rust down here.
Wow.
Go ahead. Hard, huh?
I'm the one who's pressing on it.
I know you are.
Because my thumb's at the bottom. Look at it, puppy.
Yeah. I think that's all we need.
Yeah. That is orange.
It is kind of orange. It's an orangish red. Wow, we got.
Next time we should get the dirt off of there.
Yeah, well, it's not the best job we've ever done, but we need to be able to mow.
Yeah.
And it had a big hole in it, so we couldn't mow. Now we can.
At the end of last week's video, I mentioned us wanting to put up a new shop this summer, and this is the area back here where we plan to do it. Although it seems like putting up the shop is going to be the easy part. Getting all the paperwork filed and the necessary permits is what's going to take us the time. All right, well that was no restoration, but it let me get this thing fixed, and I just mowed the whole front lawn with it, so I'm pretty happy with how that came out. Filling gaps with a laser welder is not its forte, so the fact that I was able to do it at all with really no experience impresses me. I mean, I could have just scabbed a patch on top of this. It would have welded in a lot easier too, but I didn't want it to look like that. Well, like I said, I'm pretty happy with how that came out. I still got a ways to go figuring out all the ins and outs of how a laser welder works, or just welding in general. Usually I rely on Scott for all that stuff, but I'm happy with how it came out. And if you're in the market for a laser welder and you want to help out the channel, if you follow our affiliate link down in the video description, we receive a commission on all of those purchases, and I would surely appreciate it. Also, I'd like to thank our Patreon supporters who help make all these videos possible. Next week, we are getting back to the Carnival Ride restoration. We're starting to work on the final touches on putting together the electrical cabinet. So if you don't want to miss that, click that link to the left and come along for the ride.